start a recording so that in the event that you need to go back to the lesson, then we have the lesson for you to refer to, okay? So we said the prime number has two factors, right? One in itself, and the non-prime number has more than two factors. But in both instances, the number one in itself is a factor, whether it's prime or whether it's not. So then we've input the number. We now run a loop from 1 to that number, and we're checking if num mod I equals 0. Num mod I equals 0 means that you have a factor. And when you have that factor, you want to now create a counter. So you're going to say counter is assigned the value counter plus 1. You can call the variable anything you want. Now, Owen, what do I need to do to this variable counter?
Would you not have to, what's it called? Take it out of the,
What is this called? It starts with an A.
Eliminating.
No, it's an accumulator.
It's
Count
accumulating.
Accumulator. So what do we need to do to count? Counter. We need to initialize it to 0. It needs to be initialized to 0. So now that I've done that, I'm going to say end. So there's my for loop. And that for loop is just going to continue from 1 to whatever the number is, and it's going to check the counter. And it's going to check for a factor. And every time it finds the factor, it just increments your counter. Now that the loop is finished, Moenta, what do I need to check?
You need to check if the counter variable is equal to 2.
So if this counter variable equals 2, what does it mean, Moenta?
It means that the number is a prime number.
It is a prime number. Now, Sivan, when you did it, when you were checking for prime numbers, you were when you were checking for factors, you were printing the factor. I'm not interested in printing the factor. I just want a message to say it is a prime number or not. So if the counter is 2, then it's just going to go read out dot lines dot add or show message, whichever one you want to use. The number is prime. Right? End. Else. What are we going to say else? Read out dot lines dot add. The number is not prime. So that is what you need to have to check for prime numbers. A loop to count the factors. And outside the loop, you just check how many factors you have. Okay?
So if the question didn't ask to output if the number is not prime, then we won't have the else part, right?
But Moenta, if you don't output the number is not prime, that means when you enter the number 10, nothing is going to get output.
Oh, okay, so I have to have the else part.
Yes, because what as a user of the program, what are they going to think when I enter 10, 12, 14, 15, 16? What are they going to think when I enter numbers that are not prime?
The program doesn't work correctly.
Yeah, they're going to think there's something wrong and they'll keep pressing the button, because when you press a button, you want to expect
an output.
an output. and you are not giving an output unless you're printing the factors. But even then, if you're printing the factors as well, that's not good enough, because the question wants you to determine prime, if the number is prime or not. So we need to be able to tell the user that the number is prime or it's not prime. So you can't just check to say, and yes, the number is prime. It's an incomplete program.
Okay, so.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Sivan, questions from you? Sivan, any questions?
No, not really, but if you were to print the numbers, I use two different loops and if statements. So if you wanted to put it together, how would you do that?
Look, Sivan, if you want to print the factor, right? The factor, you're essentially printing the factor. This is where we are checking the factor. And here I got an increment. So inside of this begin and end, you will just have read out dot lines dot add and do a but into string I. See that? So inside the loop, it's doing two things now. Every time it finds a factor, it's printing the factor and it's counting the factor at the same time. So when that loop finishes, it checks that counter, and if it's 2, it'll then say whether it is prime or not. So this program is going to display the factors and at the end say it's not prime, or at the end it'll say it is prime. Does that make sense, Sivan?
Yes, sir.
Right, so I don't need a separate loop for that. I've just incorporated it into this coding here, if it was required. In this case, in the question that I asked you to solve, it was not required. Right. I'm going to keep the solution on the screen. Then how do I? And then I'm going to ask you to write the code for something else, right? And you're going to write this on paper. You're not typing it. You're going to write it the way I wrote my code now. You're going to write this on paper. Okay. So, and I'm leaving this code on the screen, which means what I'm asking you is similar but different. Right? Similar but different. Does anybody know what's a perfect number?
Would it not be 12 times 12?
No, you're thinking of a perfect square, Owen.
Oh.
That's a perfect square. 144 is a perfect square. 36, 6 times 6 is a perfect square. Here I'm talking about a perfect number. So usually they say a perfect number is one where the sum of the factors except the number adds up to the number. Just want you to digest this. A perfect number is one where the sum of the factors except the number adds up to the number. Do you all understand what a perfect number is?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to give you examples. I need each of you to tell me whether it's a perfect number or not. Let's start with 10. Is 10 a perfect number? Yes or no? And I want 4 answers.
No.
Yes.
Yes. No.
I've got 2 no's and 2 yeses. Now let me write the factors. Do you want to check your answer again? A perfect number is one where the sum of the factors except the number adds up to the number. So the 2 yeses, do you want to reconsider?
Yes.
Sum of the factors, 5, 6, 7, 8. The sum of the factors does not add up to 10. So the answer, is this a perfect number?
No.
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 Let's take another example. 12. Okay, I'll help you out. You're right. Let's write the factors.
No. No.
Yes.
No.
Owen,
Yes. No.
add up all the factors here. Owen, add these up. Tell me what you get.
I get 10, 5, wait, 10 and 6, which will make 16.
Does 16 add up to the number itself?
No.
That's not a perfect number.
No. No.
No.
No.
Hey, I hope I can remember what a perfect number is.
Imagine us just making us get it all wrong.
Okay, let's see how it goes.
So 6 is a perfect number.
No. 1.
1, 2, and 3.
2 and
So
3.
1 plus
Yes.
2 is 3. Yeah, 3.
Oh, okay. I forgot about 6. All right, let's keep going.
No, definitely no. That's
Yes.
no.
No. Yes.
Yes.
Check it
No.
again, please.
Because remember you have
28
to
is
14
you have
and
to add
7.
28 to it.
Yes.
it's
Yes,
14
it's a
and
perfect.
7 is 21,
20.
right? 14 plus 7. 21 plus 4
25,
28.
plus 2
26, 27,
plus 1.
28.
Oh, and what you said, definitely no, eh? It's a definite yes. And then there's 6. 1, 2, 3, and 6.
That's
so 3.
yes.
So there aren't too many perfect numbers. There is one more in the range from 1 to 500. It's 496 or something like that. So Sivan, during your spare time, find the factors of 496. Leave out 496 and tell me whether it's a perfect number or not.
okay. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm joking. Right, but I think 496, if I remember correctly, I wrote a program and it
I was
threw
going
out
to Google.
it threw out all the perfect numbers. So now we understand what a perfect number is. So the question is, write the code similar to what I've just done now. It deals with factors It requires you to sum up the factors, determine if it is a perfect number or not. And you got no more than 10 minutes. The time starts now.
We open up a new program.
No, you're writing on paper, just the way I wrote on paper now. And notice when I wrote on paper, I'm still indenting.
Sir, could you please repeat the question?
The question is exactly what's here. You have to input a number and determine if it is a perfect number or not. Is that okay?
Yes.
Right, so you know what a perfect number is. You just have to determine, is the number input a perfect number or not? I've got about maybe, I'll give you all 4 minutes more. There's some background sounds coming from either Owen or Mayantha. You may want to mute.
There's no sound coming from me.
Okay.
Sir, I finished.
Send me a pic of it, please. Okay, so I want everyone to stop. Even if you haven't finished it, it's okay. Just send me a pic. I want to just see what you've got.
Yeah. Even if your handwriting is untidy.
Even if you're writing some, that's why you've chosen the subject so you can type. And I'm asking you, it's fine. Decent try, Mayantha, but it's not 100% right, but it's a good try.
Okay.
Guys, I want the rest of you. Mayantha, in the meantime, while I'm looking at the others, you need to check the if statement in, no, sorry. The line where you say I perfect equals I minus I null.
Okay, sir.
Your problem is basically there. That's the one line that's creating the problem.
You sent it through, sir.
Okay, that's fine. Priyashna, I see you had some challenges. I don't have an issue because you're just kind of feeling your way around this, Priyashna. So we'll get there.
We were all at that stage.
You sure you're still not at that stage, Owen?
I've been busted.
Owen, did you just write the same code that I had on the screen?
No.
What's different about the code?
It's outputting the perfect numbers.
Okay. Sven, I didn't get yours.
I think Sir's
Sir,
suspecting sus.
sir, I sent it.
No, I didn't. Just check, it didn't come through.
I think I'm
Okay.
sus.
So while Sven is still sending this, right, I want to compare the solution I wrote for the prime number. Okay, it came through now.
Sir, it says that it went through now.
No, I've got it now.
Okay.
I can see some part of what you've done that is correct, is definitely correct. The one part, the second part you've done. Oh, and then you've got a line coming down. Okay, I didn't see that line coming down. I was confused about that.
Yeah, sir, I mistakenly wrote that part first, so that will go under the
Yeah,
I sum. Yeah.
you close. I think you are just as close as Moyanta, except that second part, that first part that you wrote. The first, why are you putting it? Why you got a loop? I think that's where your problem lies.
Oh,
you got-
yeah. I should just take out that loop and then it should have worked.
You're quite close. You're quite close. So guys, look
So
at this.
when can we actually code it?
That you will code as homework.
Oh, okay.
Right, you will code that as homework. So listen to this, guys. I'm just drawing an analogy between these two. The previous program was prime numbers. We counted factors and checked to see if it has two factors. Please listen very carefully. We input a number, counted factors, and checked if it had two factors. The blue part checks if it has two factors. The for loop in the red part counts the factors. Here, what do we need to do? We need to find factors, but we're not counting the factors. What are we doing to the factors, Owen?
We're outputting the factors.
No. What are we doing to the factors?
We're adding them.
The sum of the factors, correct. We are finding the sum of the factors. So when I find a factor, if I draw an analogy, the difference is I don't want to count. Let's see if I can use another green, right? So here, sorry, my pens are just flying around here. So here, I'm not interested in counting the factors. So my first problem is here. The solution was staring you in the face. So that is why I left this here. You have to input a number, find the factors, but what do you want to do to the factors each time? You want to sum up the factors. You want to sum it up. So this is an accumulator. Count is an accumulator. So instead of saying +1, you just simply want to say, what's the factor? What variable is holding the factor? The variable?
I.
So you just want to say counter equals counter plus I, not +1. That's the first change. Everything else in the first part remains the same. Well, most of it. There's one more change we're going to make. But the first part that I'm showing now, the only change required was variable equals variable plus I. If If you want to use the variable sum, you could have said sum, assign the value sum plus I. Okay. Now, are we checking for 2? Are we checking if this counter equals 2? Owen?
No.
No.
What are we checking if it's equal to? The sum of the factors, let's read it carefully. The sum of the factors adds up to the
Number.
So what do I need to check if my counter is equal to?
If it's equal to num.
This number here, the number that I've input. My input number, I want to check if when I add up all the factors, whether that counter adds up to the number. And then obviously you're going to say the number is perfect. It's not perfect. Something to that.
To subtract I num from the sum.
1 second, Moyanta. Just you're 100% right. 100% right. I'm coming to that one just now. So as it stands, compared to what we have to do and what we did previously, can you all see the similarity?
Yes.
Input a number, find the factors, but this time what are we doing to the factors? What are we doing to the factors?
We're adding.
Summing them up.
Summing them up.
Adding them. And then after we finish add them all up, we're checking if the sum of the factors is equal to the number. Moyanta, now's your time to come in.
Time to shine.
Go ahead.
So if the I counter minus I num is equal to I num, then the number is perfect.
No, what's the problem with it at the moment? What's the problem?
The I counter is including the number itself.
Yeah, see here, we're saying accept the number. At the moment, we are running the loop right up until the number. So the number is always a factor of itself. So that's going to be added into our counter. So that's a problem. Priyashna, can you see that?
Yes.
How do we prevent the number? What can I, Priyashna, let's see if you can figure this out, right? How can I change the loop so that it does not pick the number up as a factor?
We can subtract the number.
Yeah, you're right. No, what you're saying is correct. You can take away the number because the code currently is adding the number as a factor. So you're saying you can subtract that number before you check. But what I was thinking, guys, look at this. What if I run the loop from 1 to 1 less than the number? What do you think?
That can work.
Why?
Because every single time you adding, it's subtracting at the same time.
No, Owen. So let's look at these examples here. 10. If my number is 10, the loop is running from 1 to
10.
No, 10 minus 1. I've got number minus 1, so the loop is running from 1 to 9. So it's no longer picking up the number itself as a factor. If the number is 12, the loop is running from 1 to 11. If the number is 14, the loop runs from 1 to 13. Talk to me, Priyashna.
I understand now.
So what I've done to the loop, because let's look, the loop can start at any number, it can stop at any number. So I could have started the loop at 5 as an example, but for this question, we needed to start at 1. But I'm stopping at 1 less than the number. See this number here? The number that we input, I'm stopping at 1 less. 1 less than the number. Let's take this line out here. Let me write this properly. So I'm stopping it at, where's green? At num. This is num, N-U-M, minus 1. Mayantha, does that make sense?
Yes.
Now you don't need any of that other stuff that you wrote in this line, Mayantha. It's just a normal counter. It's a normal accumulator.
So when I put I, it would only subtracted I num from the last or the first factor.
But you see, your solution, you were not accumulating it, Mayantha.
Yeah.
See, that's where the problem was. You were not accumulating it.
Okay, so I understand now.
So I want you all to try it out and you'll think about it. And yeah. And you'll figure out how to do it. At the end of the day, I just need you all to get it to work. Press print. And please, Sivan, what number are you going to test after you finish all of these numbers?
497.
No, 96.
Oh, sure.
496. Test if that is if that's
Perfect.
Yeah.
And if my memory serves me well, that is a perfect number. Okay, great. Enough of this. Let's get into Delphi now, right? Open up Delphi.
Yay!
We're going to code again. We're going to code. We're going to start coding again. All of you know how to play noughts and crosses?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's X and O's.
X and zeros? Or X and O's or what?
Yes.
Sivan, you know how to play?
Yeah.
Priyashna? Priyashna, you know how to play X and noughts and what do you call it? X and zeros or whatever?
O's.
Oh, it's X and O's, yeah. Where you put a cross, one person puts a cross and the other person. Right. Okay, Owen.
Yes.
I'm playing, you playing me.
Okay. Number version.
Okay, so you tell me the number, then I can place it, right? So who's going first? Can I go first or you going first?
I got my strategy already. Okay.
Okay, go for it. You go
8.
first. 8. Right. So you going with
O for Owen. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think about the O for Owen. Okay, so I'll go with the red, right? Okay, continue.
Go by 6. Go by 9. Now I got you cornered. I can go either on 3 or 7.
Oh, that's a good move, Owen.
I am the master of X and O's.
Okay, fine. Who's taking Owen on now? I'm out. He's right. He can go on 3 and 7. So I can go. I can put it here, but that's useless because he's going to go there, and Owen wins. Okay, fine. Who's taking on Owen?
I'll wait.
Right, Sivan. right? Now you go first, Sivan.
Okay, go on 1.
I will go on 2.
Go on 3.
Let's see. 9.
Go on 5.
8. Go on 7.
Okay, go on
I don't
4.
think, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't think
yeah, just,
nothing can come out of it, right?
yeah.
Nothing can come out of it. Well, Owen is still the champion. Between
Yeah.
Moyanta and Priyashna, who's going?
I'll go.
Okay.
Imagine me getting beaten by a girl.
Go for it, Moyanta.
5.
Let's go the 9.
4.
Let's go the 6.
3.
7.
2.
I got you by 7 and 9.
Oh, shit.
Oh.
You didn't even need to use a trick, man.
Okay. Priyashna, it's left up to you to defeat Owen.
Actually getting decent backup.
Priyashna, go.
9.
Let's go the 5.
Come on, Priyashna, make this happen.
1.
4.
Yashna, you can win this, Yashna.
6.
Oh no. Yeah.
3.
7.
Oh, I think this is tied.
8.
Oh,
It's a tie.
yeah, this is tied.
The
Well done,
undefeated
Owen.
champion.
Well done. Sure. That's really good, Owen. Not bad at all.
I'm the master of games.
No, that's great stuff. Now, Owen, because you're the winner, you have to code this game, Owen. The others don't have
Oh
to code.
no.
And we're going to look at how you're going to code it, seeing that you're so good at it.
I'm good at the game, but not at coding.
Everyone knows the rules, right? So we're coding this game here. We're coding this game for noughts and crosses.
And then we'll put that at the end, read out. Owen automatically wins.
Now tell me, what, from a design point of view, how are we going to create this grid? Any ideas?
By using the shapes.
What shapes?
Rectangles.
Keeping in mind, guys, you have to keep in mind that you need a value to go into that shape. So Priyashna, you're saying shapes, right? So what shape you want? You want like a rectangle?
Like a square, yeah.
A square?
Yeah, square shape.
In Delphi, I'm trying to figure out in Delphi, how are you going to get that?
There's a...
There is a shape. Is there a shape?
Yes.
And then you can choose what shape you want. There's a shape here. Okay, I got it. So you want to just keep putting a whole bunch of these. Yashna?
Yeah.
No, you got an idea. You definitely have an idea. Okay, so that's fine. Let's hear from the others if they have any other ideas.
No.
Sivan, Moyanta?
So we could use 9 squares to get the grid, right? And then within each square, we could put in like what's it called? Like a label. And then if the label is tapped, we could change the text to like a X or a O.
Now, Priyashna, to bring you in here because you came up with the idea of the shape. Now, what Sivan is saying, if we use the square, that's good, but we still need a value to go into it. So he's suggesting we put a label inside of it. Does the shape have a certain property where we can put a value into it, Priyashna?
It's. I think it has text.
Just double check to see if it has a text property.
No, sir, it doesn't have text. The only
No caption either.
So y'all are looking for a text property and you were looking for a caption property and it doesn't have either.
no.
It doesn't have either.
Okay, which means we could then go with Sivan's and put a label because we can then put a value into that label. Moyanta, your thoughts?
I think this could work, but I was also thinking of maybe a checkbox, but that puts a tick.
You were thinking about a checkbox and then a checkbox puts in a tick. How do you differentiate player 1 from player 2?
You can put radio buttons as well.
So it works.
What works, Sivan?
The label method, where if you click the label inside the square, it creates the shape.
Okay, no, that's fine. I'm that can definitely work. I'm just brainstorming to see if there's any other ideas. Now, Moyanta's thought about the checkbox, but something tells me y'all are forgetting about something very, very basic that can
So
be used.
we could have also put in a like a input box, and then you could either input a X or a O, and then you could put like a label or something there, and then it'll like similar, but it's
Couldn't we put a button?
yeah.
Tell me more about the button, Owen.
Like a button you can place in each box, and then when couldn't we change the color of the button for a specific player, and then each time you press the button, it will go into the player's color, and it will disable that button.
That makes sense. And then you'll have to make the button like invisible. You'll have to
Disable.
change.
He said disable.
No, I meant like even if you disable it, it'll still be there, like in the block, or you'll right.
And that's why it will change into the color of the player.
Okay. Yeah.
Talk to me, Moyanta.
So the button doesn't have a color property. So what if we use bit buttons instead?
So based on what you guys are saying, there's no color property, and does the bit button have a color property?
I'm not
Which
sure,
button?
but
I don't think so.
Okay. So there's a few ideas that y'all have put onto the table. We have to decide on one of them. Can we eliminate any of the ideas? Checkbox. Can we eliminate the checkbox?
Yeah.
Because that won't work because
I can see too many problems with the checkbox, right? So that leaves us now with the shapes, and it leaves us with the button. Which would be a better option to go with?
The shapes.
Because
Okay.
with the shapes, can't you like code it to be squares, circles, rectangles, and that? So it'd be much more easier to determine which player is a square and which player is a rectangle.
Okay, the boys are in favor of the shapes. Yashna and Mayantha.
Shapes. The buttons seem a bit complicated.
Too complicated.
But you know what I'm just confused about? You all said you all wanted a text and you were looking for the text and the caption
Buttons got
property.
text.
And a button has both of those, which will allow
Yeah.
you to so easily put a value into it. Here now you have to put in labels and a shape compared to the button.
Oh, cause a button is a rectangle.
We can shape it into, yeah, into a rectangle or a square. So we can get, that's not a problem. So
So I'm
yeah.
in favor.
I was hoping we come to the conclusion that we're going to use buttons. So we kind of got there, even though you came up with the shape. I'm not saying it won't work, guys. I'm not saying that. I want to code it using buttons. So I want you to have 9 buttons on your form.
So how do you do that thing where you just get all the buttons at once?
You just spam.
I'm not sure how you do that.
Or you could just right click and copy.
And just set it in that type of and then we want to remove the caption. So to remove the caption, highlight all the buttons and at one go click on caption and remove it. All the captions will disappear at one go.
That's cool. That saves us a lot of time.
Exactly. And if you want to make it a little smaller, you can just get the shape right. Although, let's not spend too much of time. Don't waste time now, with that. Okay, and then highlight all of them and then just position them somewhere in the center where we're happy with it. You have different styles of buttons. You all can play around with that. I'm not going to go into it. Where you can change some properties so the button looks different. I forget what the property is, but the whole idea of a pet, the purpose of a pet is for you all to play around with things. Right? So I'm just telling you, you can change the styles of the button. So it has a solid line, it has a 3D shape effect, and so forth. Right? The next thing I want to do now, how can I code this so that the first time around, I click it, it gives me an X. The second time around, it gives me an O. The third time round, it gives me an X. The fourth time round, it gives me an O.
Wouldn't we like
No. Owen, I want you all, I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna mute. And I want you all to brainstorm. I'm gonna give you all 5 minutes. And then at the end of 5 minutes, you all are gonna tell me your ideas. You all can even try out.
Imagine if we never had the class, the Saturday class. We've never been able to communicate with each other and build that bond.
Yeah, well, that's how you all started, remember?
Yes.
You and Mayantha.
And
Okay.
then it grew to 7.
Okay, so you've got 5 minutes, guys. I'm just going to, I'm muting, but you've got 5 minutes to brainstorm this.
Guys, would we use the events tab? Because then it would be on click, like if we on click a button.
And then which one will you
No,
use?
but we need like a property to count. Oh, so then on
I
create
think
we could,
Uh,
yeah. Go for it.
I don't know how to create the button, but I know if you use maybe if and then the variable and then you use in capital letters with square brackets and then you put all the even numbers
Like 2, 4, 6, 8.
and
And
then
1,
those
3,
numbers will
5,
have
7, 9.
yeah.
Guys, do you know that? No, I'm asking if any of y'all know if, like, say, if you click a button, right, and if you put in a counter, will the counter be able to count how many times you click the button?
I think if you add an on-click event, it might.
Yeah, I'm seeing if I code it in a on-click event, and if I introduce a variable.
Maybe it will. I'm not too sure.
I don't know.
What if we put the captions of each button with X and O respectively and disable it for now, but only enable it when they click on the button?
But so what you're saying is
Well, what if we have like 2 buttons at the bottom and say like player X and player O, and the person must click on it if it's their turn, and then they click on which square they want to place their X or O.
Yeah, that would be easier.
Yeah, that would be easier. But I don't think so wants us to like I think he wants it to like automatically just go to an X or an O.
Oh, that's so much harder.
Something
What if
needs
we
to
put
drive. Okay, go ahead, please. Go ahead. I think that was Mayantha. Go ahead.
What if we double click on the form and code all the buttons in that?
Yes, you're going to need to code every button, but something has to drive this whole process. And I heard you all talk about you need something to count.
iCounter.
So tell me more about this counter.
We said that every time we click a button, the counter would increase, and then when the counter is equal to 1, it will only be we are only allowed to input the button. Sorry, will only change to X's.
Right.
And then,
So let's implement that idea. Let's go into the global. This counter has to be global, right? So in your variables, in your coding.
So are we coding in events or a button, like on create?
At this stage, I'm just declaring the variable count of type integer.
Okay.
So that's what I'm doing at this stage. I've just got, can you see, I've got this counter variable of type integer.
Yes.
Right. And is there a way to initialize a variable when you declare it, Mayantha? You say equals 0. Does that allow you to do this? Yeah, there we are. It didn't give me an error. So what this is doing, it's declaring the variable and it's setting it to 0. Got it? Now go to each button. Go to each button. You know what? I just realized we've got 9 buttons, right? I
Yes.
hope your buttons, I just placed my buttons in any order, but you should keep them in sequence.
I always keep my things in sequence.
See, like
Wait,
I've got,
going down or sideways?
well, whichever way. Anyway, maybe we'll rename it at some point. Anyway, we will have to rename it. So when each button is pressed, what do we need to do to this counter?
Increase by 1.
Needs to increase by 1.
For each button, you can copy and paste this code in each of the buttons. Now, no matter which button I press, that counter variable is incrementing by 1.
So by the time the last button is clicked, it will have the value of 9.
No, but keep in mind, Moyanta, we're not clicking the buttons in any order.
Yeah.
You got player
Because
1
it's
and
just
player
placed
2.
randomly.
You got 2 players. You don't know which buttons they're clicking on. So that is why this counter variable is so important. Because how will you know? This is my next question to y'all. How will you know whether it's player 1 or whether it's player 2?
If the counter is even, or if the counter is odd.
Did y'all get that, guys? You'll
Yes.
figure it out. If it is an even counter, then we have to place a 0. Right? So let's go to the first button. And we're going to do this for every button. We're just duplicating the code for every button. If this count, how do I check for even?
Mod 2 is equal to 0.
Mod 2 equals 0. Button 1 dot caption. Let's start with an X, right? So player 1 will be an X. Else, button 1.
So wouldn't we have to put a if count mod mod 2 is equal to like something else? Because then no. It should work. It should work.
So wouldn't it be better if you just copied and pasted?
No, I have to do the first one. You have to do the first one and then we're going to copy. I agree. So let's just first be happy with the first one. If we just copy and paste and then we realize, no, we need to make changes, then we have to change all of it again. So before we can do anything, let's just be happy. We've
So
got
let's
this.
run it.
We got this global variable count that's going to increment. And if it's an even, it's putting a X. If it's odd, it's going to put an O. Are we happy with that?
Yes.
Yes.
So maybe what you can do now is copy the if statement and paste it into each of the buttons after the count.
So I have a solution that doesn't involve writing the if statement in each button.
Tell me about it.
After the procedure of each button, you introduced us to a statement with the capital letters IN. So if we put all the even numbers in square brackets,
So you
then
mean like in and then it's 2.8.
yeah, like that.
But that all that you are doing, Moyanta, is you're replacing the statement count mod 2 equals 0. You have to make a check for every button to determine whether it's even or odd. I'm not saying you can't use the 2468. You can do that. But I'm saying you're not going to be omitting the if else for each button. It has to be inside of each button.
Okay, so
No, don't just accept it. It has to be clear in your mind.
I understand. I understand what you're saying, sir.
Okay, let's give that a run. And now when I click the first button I click, it puts a 0. I can be anywhere. And I click the second button. Oh no, obviously it's not going to work. I didn't change my labels. I copied and pasted. So
you copied and pasted button 1.
Button 1. So button 1 is going to change all the time. So just change the correct.
So it works, like it works.
And
Of course it works. You doubting Sir's work? You taking Sir's work?
we do
No,
it.
you have
Doing it
to
all
test it.
together.
Owen,
Ah,
we just you came up with the pro now.
Yes,
and
I did.
So I'm just using your ideas here. I mean, and I'm trying to guide the process.
I forgot I made this idea.
Nice.
Now let's see if it works.
Is it working, guys?
No,
Mine's working.
mine's is not.
Well, check. You have to ensure, Owen, that if you're working, look at my screen
Yes.
with button 7 here. I have not renamed them, right? So if you're working with button 7, then make sure you're changing button 7 caption and button 7 caption there. And the other one, you're working with button 8.
I have that, but it's giving me a error on button 1.
Your screen. What error are you getting, Owen? Yeah, you got an extra end. See when you copy and paste, Owen?
Oh, 1, 2.
No, you're not. You copied and pasted, which means you duplicated the error for each button. You have to remove an end.
See, sir, I'm still in the noob stage.
No, that's why you have to be careful when you're copying and pasting. You have to be sure that it works the first time around.
That only happened to me once.
Hmm.
I got on my first try. That one's correct.
Right, that's fine.
Yay!
Okay, that's only compiling. That doesn't mean it's working.
Yay. It
Right.
works. Now we have to code it to see if player 1 or player 2 wins.
Yep.
And also we can add in a scoreboard.
Yeah. We need a scoreboard. You're right. You have to have a scoreboard. How do we
And
build
we
in
can
rules?
also have a computer. Like randomized 1 to 9.
No. Yeah, that's if you're playing against the computer, right?
Yes.
But let's take things one step at a time.
Okay.
I need some ideas. How? Wait. Priyashna, is yours working?
Yes.
Okay. And Mayanta, is yours working?
Yes.
Right. It's exciting. I mean, we didn't do too much, but we got the X's and the O's to work. And guys, think about it, not heavy programming. It's stuff that you've been exposed to, right?
Yes.
It's nothing overly hectic. We just got this global variable. And this global variable is just playing a very big role in checking each time whether it's even or odd. And it's putting the the caption for us. Now, what are we looking for?
A winner.
A winner.
We're looking for a winner. When do we have a winner?
When someone gets it into the third strike in a row, the third X in a row.
No, man. Then there'll always be a winner.
I mean, when the person gets the same shape in a row, third time in a row.
No, it's like we have to no, that also it's
So
like
Yashna?
maybe we can say like if button 1 is like on click and button 2, button 3, and just continue that for each pattern, then the person will be declared the winner.
So essentially what you're saying, Priyashna, is we have to just look for the various patterns that give us a win. So the different patterns would be if I've got all 3 in a row here, I've got all 3 in a row there, all 3 in a row there. So that's one set of, these are 3 sets of checks that need to be made. The next 3 checks will be coming down. So now I've got 6 checks that have been made. And then the other 2 are your diagonals. So how many checks do we need in total?
8.
8, yeah. 3 across, 3 down, 2 across a diagonal. So there's 8 different checks that need
so
to be.
is there no easier way to do that? Like without the 8 checks?
These are the rules. You have to build in the rules.
Oh, okay.
You have to build in the rules.
No, because normally like when we do something with like a lot of checks or something, you just like come after that and give us like a easier, more efficient way to do it.
Yeah.
What I am going to show you is I'm going to introduce you to something new, right? Not really new, you've been using it, but you've never done it yourself. So this will simplify it. It'll simplify it, but the 8 checks still need to be made. But instead of doing the 8 checks in each of the buttons, we're going to do the 8 checks in one place called a procedure. And we're going to keep calling the procedure each time.
So sir, like the global procedure, like the one right on the top.
Yes, like these procedures here. Now Delphi has created these procedures, and you'll notice there's every button, every component, it creates a procedure. We are now going to learn how to create our own procedure. So we're not going to use Delphi's procedure. Right, so let's go to the top. Place there. And let's write down procedure. Let's just call it check. I'm calling my procedure check because it needs to check for a win.
So where are you gonna upload this video?
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. Now, okay, there we are. So now what I want you to do, you've got this procedure check.
Yes.
Right click anywhere on that, right click. And do you all have something that says complete class at cursor?
Yes.
The shortcut is Shift Control C, but you can just click on that. Click on it. Complete class at cursor. And it should take you to the procedure. It creates the procedure for you. You all have that, guys?
Yes.
No, mine is giving me an error. It says expected semicolon, but private found in class T form 2.
Share your screen, please, Owen. It won't work if you have.
Owen, you're a trouble child.
I always get the trouble.
Scroll up where you did the procedure check. Where's your semicolon? Put your semicolon after procedure check.
Oh.
Look at how all the other procedures are written above that, Owen.
But then when you had yours, I thought I didn't see a semicolon.
There we are.
Yeah.
Right. Does everyone have that procedure check? It's created?
Yes.
Now, just for testing purposes, let's put a show message. I just want to show you all how this works. So just put show message, hello. Message, hello. So what did we do? We created our own procedure called check. What's the name of the procedure, Owen?
Check.
Check. The procedure is called check. And when I execute the procedure, what happens, Owen?
What do you mean by execute?
When I run, when that procedure runs, what will happen? It displays?
Hello.
It displays hello. So now, guys, let's go into the first button and double click it. And let's call the procedure. Let's call the procedure. So when I want to call you Owen, I address you by its name. I address you by your name. So when I want to call the procedure, I call it by its name, which is called check. So I simply type check, semicolon, and Delphi knows I'm calling that procedure. give it a run. Click on that
So
first button.
do we put check on every single button or just?
No. I'm only testing it for the first button. I'm just testing for the first button. Every time I click on that first button, it tells me hello. Every time I click on the first button, it tells me hello.
Hello.
What does that mean?
It's working.
No. It means that the procedure is being called. Yes, we know it's working, Owen. So when you write a procedure, normally you usually only learn this in grade 11, right? And when I explain it to the students in grade 11, I say, if you're part of a soccer team, right, you are playing. A team is made up of 11 players, and you get some substitutes who are sitting on the bench.
Subs.
But the players that are really impacting the game are the 11 who are on the field. So when you declare a procedure, when you write a procedure like the one we just wrote, that check is a player that he's sitting on the bench. He's not serving much purpose. He is sitting on the bench. When does this player serve a purpose?
When you call him off the bench.
When you call him off the bench.
When you substitute him for another player.
Off the bench, now he's serving a purpose. And that procedure gets called and executes. So just writing the procedure is useless. You're not affecting the program, but when you call it, then it executes. Moyanta?
Yes, sir.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, Yashna?
Yes.
So this is how procedures are written, and this is how procedures are, well, firstly, this is how a procedure is declared, right? And then this is how a procedure is defined. This is how it's defined. And this is how the procedure is called. This is calling the procedure. Calling the procedure, and at the bottom, we defined the procedure. And we defined it in a way that it's going to output hello. So guys, what do you think your homework is going to be?
To complete
improve this.
Sorry?
We have to improve the code.
No.
We have to complete it.
In one sense. But instead of this show hello, you'll need to write the rules.
For X and O's.
8 rules on that we spoke about. You have to write the 8 rules and call check each time. So check is looking to see if there's a winner. Make a comment. Make a comment on the top. It's looking to find a winner. That's what it's doing.
So, who's your favorite soccer team?
United.
Probably the same as yours. Who's
What?
your favorite? Who's your favorite?
I like FC Barcelona.
Okay, no,
Because it
I
was
was.
of Messi.
No, because of Neymar.
He's no longer at FC Barcelona.
Because he switched to
Yeah.
PSG.
Yeah, I'm slowly going to. I liked Barca and PSG because of Neymar, but like now I'm a bit of both. Like I don't know.
Anyway, to answer your question, I follow Man United. I follow all the teams, but
Yes, United.
So, guys, you'll know what needs to be done.
Yes.
So our homework is this, and it's the other button about the perfect numbers.
Correct. Coding that button. You have the code. You just need to type it and get it to work.
Yeah.
And here, another thing, guys, just watch my screen. Another problem. Right? If you look at this. Look at this. If I click on the first button, oh, well, okay, that's, I'm not going to click on that. Let me click on the middle button. It gives me the right answer, but I can click on it again and it's going to change to an O. If I keep clicking on it, it's going to change to an X and an O.
Disable it.
Right. Don't forget, as part of each routine, you need to disable that button so that the user can't click on it again.
Okay.
Can you see what it entails creating a game?
A lot of work.
So for the winner, we must use a show message, or must we
Yeah,
use
good enough. Good enough. Use a show message.
Okay.
And if you want to take it a step further, Priyashna, you can add a score as well.
I think a show message will be fine.
Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. And that show message is going to be inside of that checker, because that's where
Owen is gonna go add a score.
Don't worry, I got it.
that's where you're looking for a winner in your check. So you put your rules, and if the rule is satisfied, then you display. It'll be interesting to see how you're going to determine who the winner is. Anyway, I'll leave that to you. I will leave that up to y'all. Okay, so that was fun. Coding tic-tac-toe.
X and O.
X and O's, yeah. But yeah, it adds another level of programming and thinking in terms of
Too much
doing
of thinking.
No, that's just programming, Owen. If you don't like it, then you're gonna have to select another subject that's not problem solving.
Cavemen don't understand subjects.
So, but anyway, it's interesting when you get it to work. It's frustrating when it doesn't work, but it's really
Yes, it frustrates me because I always get it wrong the first time.
yeah. You keep trying. That's the key, Owen.
Yeah, never give up.
Never give up. Yeah. Okay, guys.
Similar to rock, paper, scissors, record.
Yeah. Well, in one sense,
We already did that, didn't we? Rock, paper,
Yeah.
scissors?
No.
Yeah, this could be another option of the game. Yeah, that's
Also,
another
before
option.
we go, you said you're gonna tell us where you're gonna upload this.
The video.
Yeah.
You want to watch the video again?
Yes, because I forget.
Okay, I don't have an issue. I'm just wondering whether I should put it onto my YouTube channel.
Please
Yes. Please.
do. Yes.
Okay. But
So
then
you have a YouTube channel?
You didn't know that?
No.
Huh.
yeah, well then you need to just search my name on YouTube. You'll find it. A whole lot of videos are there. You'll find interesting, Owen.
Great.
At least
I've watched all your videos, mostly all.
So,
well, yeah.
so I'm not in the Saturday group.
Okay, guys. Owen, what's happening?
And the admin, I will add.
Owen's the chief controller for the Saturday group. So I'm assuming on the Saturday you will be brainstorming these type of questions.
Yes, brainstorming.
Okay, great. Guys, let's leave it there. I'll remind me, Owen, as well for the video, and I will give you all the link.
Okay.
Okay, great stuff. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for the lesson.